Lorree here, welcome back and welcome to part 4 of our £10 junk journal challenge craft with me type thingamabob. If you've got a better name for it, let me know down below. But basically I am making a journal out of items from the pound shop only, and the price of it is £10. So I've spent no more than £10 to get all my supplies, except for like basic tools like pens and pencils and stuff like that. But I even got my glue, but that's technically not included in the price. But anyway, if you haven't seen parts 1, 2 and 3, I will link the playlist below. And also my good friend Lorree, hi Lorree, is also taking part in this challenge, and I will link her videos. Well, her videos will also be in the playlist, so check the playlist below and they will be in order for like part 1, part 2 kind of thing, and that way you're kind of, I hope that makes sense. But anyway, so in our last few videos we have gutted our storybook, made our book skeleton, I guess, and then we've also put our signatures together, and then in the last video we made our pocket pages. So I made all of these out of different wallpapers. These are not vintage wallpapers, but I did get them for free out of the pound shop. If your pound shop does not have them, doesn't like sell wallpaper, you can get them in like B&M's and like B&Q. Anywhere that sells wallpaper will have wallpaper like samples, like an open roll of wallpaper for you to kind of look at it properly, and you can take a free sample of that home. So anywhere you know that you can buy wallpaper, you should be able to get a free like section of it. Like obviously they're not going to give you the full roll, but you can tear a decent amount off and get it for free, and it is beautiful to be using as your pages, because not only obviously do you get the pattern on one side, but you get the embossed side sometimes on the other side. Like fair enough, it's the negative side, but it's still pretty. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling and we can start putting our pages, our book pocket pages, into our signatures. So I've made 5 signatures, and they all have like the same sort of papers in them. So I've got tea dye paper, I've got tracing paper, book pages, lined pages, like a storybook page. So just all the same goodies, and they all have the same amount of pages, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So then we'll have 9 per signature. So it doesn't really matter to me which way these kind of go in. So I've got like 2 sort of smaller ones, and then I've got 3 sort of larger ones. So since I've got 5 signatures, what I'm going to do is put a larger one on every other page, and then a smaller one on every other page, which means I'll have like a large one on the inside and the outside in the middle, and then I'll have my 2 shorter ones in between. So I hope that makes sense. And I'm just randomly going to kind of open it up and plop it in. I'm not kind of picking an absolute designated spot for it. I am literally just opening it up and seeing where I kind of fall. And that's where it's going to go. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you're crafting along with me. I would certainly love to know if you're making your own £10 journal, or just a journal in general. But yeah, I hope you're all doing good and happy and healthy. And there we go. And I forgot, excuse me, that I had 2 sort of flip book pages, but that doesn't make any difference to me. I'm just going to pop it in this final one here, and we now have, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to swap this one so that I have like the foldable pages, like the pages that fold out the furthest apart from one another, rather than the next signature over. Hope that makes sense. But now we need to make sure that our pages actually fit inside the book. So I don't want all my pages to be like the same length. I like the fact that they're all different sizes and things like that. But obviously we want to make sure that they do fit inside the journal once it's kind of like thingy. And as you can see, some of them don't. So these ones here, I'm going to have to kind of trim it. So what I'm going to do is grab me a little pen, and I'm going to pop a little line right there, and that way I now know that is how big I need my signatures. And I actually made a mistake here. I should probably take these out just in case I accidentally nip them, because that would be my luck. Okay, okay. Just going to pop those to the side, and then I'm going to grab 2 flips. And I'm just kind of hitting them so that I know that they're definitely as far back into the spine as they can go. And I'm not really wanting them to be too even, so I'm just kind of like jumping them a wee bit. But as long as they're touching the fold, that is my main concern. There's that line. Just loosening it a little bit because I made it a little tad bit tight. Just make you. There you are. So obviously be careful if you're doing this with a knife. Then you can line this up. And I'm trying to kind of get it in line with this line here, so that I can do the same here. And that way I know I've got a straight line. And then I'm just kind of popping my ruler. Doesn't seem straight to me. Because it's not. There we go. Okay. So I'm just being very delicate. Flipping it, slipped there. Very delicate with the knife. You don't need to press too hard with it. It knows what to do. Obviously, you want to try and keep your ruler in place. And there we go. So yeah, I need to swap my blades, or break my blade, or whatever you want to call it. I really don't like doing this. I feel like it's going to go pinging away. So always be careful when throwing away your blades. Some places you have like a drop-off point where you can actually take them and like drop them off to be recycled or repurposed or whatever. We don't have anything like that nearby, so I'll just wrap them in a bunch of toilet roll and then kind of bunch them up and sellotape them, and that way they're safer to go in the bin, because obviously if an animal was to get a hold of this, like for whatever reason, I want to make sure that they're not going to get hurt. Right. Pop those away. So now we're free to put our signatures in, but I want to add a little bit of decoration to my pages beforehand. Just because it's sometimes certain decorations are easier to do before you add your, oh, I need to put the pockets back in. But yeah, certain pages are easier to add before you add your signatures to your journal, to the journal. It's just because they're not fixed in one place. It just makes life a little bit easier on you. Make sure that's the right way up. Better check that one as well, actually, because I didn't do that. It's fine. But yeah, so I'm going to be kind of stenciling onto the pages. So obviously you can buy stencils in the pound shop if you want. Obviously that would take me beyond my budget, but it is, they do have certain a certain amount. I can't remember exactly how many, but they do have some, depending on which shop you go to, obviously. But that's definitely an option. We also have a shop called The Works, which is a relatively cheap craft store that sells things like stencils and all that jazz. It's like a stationery store because it sells books and things like that as well. But I'm actually going to take my scissors and I'm going to chop this bit off the top of my doily. And the bottom. Make sure these pages are all the right way over before I actually do anything, because I've just put my willy-nilly now. But let's see here. So that's upside down. That's the right way around. Upside down. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a doily and I'm going to take, I think this is 2 doilies because it feels relatively thick, but it's not actually, it's only 1 doily. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my shoe polish and I'm going to take, for instance, this page here, and I'm going to kind of drape this over it like so. And I'm going to just kind of go over that edge, that decorative lacy edge. And see how that looks. It's not perfect, but I like it. So I'm going to do the same up on the corner here, I think. I'm trying not to like push too hard because that happens. I'm trying to be as delicate as possible, but it is obviously a doily, so it's not easy. So obviously go around your pages and distress them as well with this. And obviously if you do have other stencils available to you, I got it on my nail, you could definitely use this on them as well. And then let's see, I think I'm going to do this. Go up there. Let me see how this looks. Obviously you can get this in black as well. As you can see, I'm trying to go beyond the doily as well so that I get that like wavy edge. Oh, I like that one. I like that one the best, I think. So now I'm going to pop this back in. And let's see, do I want to add it to any more pages? I might add it to a bit of tracing paper. Let's see how that looks. This one I'm just going to put in the bin and grab another one. I'm actually going to use this the way it is because it's quite sturdy. I might actually just take one or two off because it's quite a lot. Actually, I don't want to waste too many. So I think this is about two or three. 3 it is. So it's a bit sturdier. And I think I'm going to do the same here. I'm also going to do the top. If this works out pretty well, I will do the top as well. So I'm just kind of very gently pushing. It's a bit easier now that I'm using obviously multiple doilies, so it's not as fragile. My scissors on this just to make sure that doesn't go anywhere. I apologise if you can hear my fan in the distance, in the background, sorry. My medication makes me like burn up. So I've usually got a fan on in the background just to help me stay cool. Right, so that doesn't work. So what I'm going to do is take this off and kind of try and line that back up and see if I can get those shapes back into it. little bit better. And I want to do the same on top. There we go. So, the good thing, obviously, because it is tracing paper, you see it on both sides. But I'm going to, let's see, actually, I think I had another. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut a bit of this off. And stick it down on the page here. So I'm just going to grab my Pritt stick and kind of eyeball roughly, and I'm kind of using my nails as a sort of guide as well, where I need to put the glue. And I'm just putting my Pritt stick all over that area, and making sure I'm quite generous with it. And then I'm going to just press it down on top. And obviously if I've missed any bit, like this little bit here, I can go in and add my glue. There we go. Just trim that tiny little excess bit. And then we can do the next signature. So again, I think I'm going to add a bit of the doily that I've already gone over. To like here. Wrong side. Obviously, don't worry if you put glue where, like, you go overboard with the glue, it will dry up. And it will be clear, so it's not going to, like, ruin your project if you put glue down and it turns out that you've went past the doily. I'm going to add a little bit there because it's white. I was going to maybe do that, but I think I'll be going to just maybe do here. Obviously I could take this out of the signature, but I don't think I need to for this little bit here. Just make sure I put it all the way over the edge. It's pretty, I like it. I like it, I like it. And I think I'm going to do just that tiny bit there. So pretty. And obviously it's so cheap as well. Like your doily is like £1 for like 50 or something. so it doesn't matter if you do end up just using it and then like throwing it away, or you don't actually stick it into the journal like I'm doing now. You don't have to, obviously. We stick it at the top. But yeah, so you don't have to obviously use it in your journal. You can just throw it away like I did with the first doily. But you've got the option. And you've basically got like a mega cheap stencil. And you can make your own as well if you don't like have access to doilies. I'll do that in a second actually, because we'll do that because it sounds fun. And it gives us different shapes to work with as well. I think I just cut that. Yep. I just cut the corner of my page. Go me. I'm just going to take a tiny bit of tape and fix that, because that's not good. Assuming it will stick right now with the glue being there. Let's see. Actually, just going to finish adding stuff to this page, and then we can make our doilies as well. Obviously you can do this with any kind of ink pad as well, so say you couldn't get shoe polish, but you could get a purple ink pad. Doesn't have to be brown, you can use any colour you want. It's just, like I said, they come in black as well. So let's see here. So this is the paper that I bought that I was going to tea dye, but I just kind of blue petered my way through it because I wasn't up for that. I'm actually just going to throw this bit away because that is pointless. But obviously I'm not going to get rid of this bit because that is really useful. Okay, so if you're going to make your own doily, all you have to do is, hold on, put my glue lid back on. Get a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be A4, it can be any size, and then fold it in half. You can obviously make it into a square first, which I think I'm going to do actually, so ignore that fold in half thing that I just did. You're going to bring your corner down to meet the, like so, you're going to take your corner and you're going to line this side of the page up right to the edge of the page until this point, this corner comes to a point and your corner's touching that page, and then just bring it right down, and you're going to cut that line, and that's going to give you your square. Or you can tear it, obviously you don't need to cut it. I really need to scrub my nails. I did my nails myself and I was so proud, and now they're destroyed, and I put wee cameos and everything on them. Anyway, so now we have our square, and I'm just going to fold it in half, fold it in half, and then I'm going to take it make it into a triangle and fold it in half that way again, and then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut off the tiniest little bit there, and then I'm going to cut little triangles in different sizes and shapes, like styles, all the way along. And you can do like a half circle as well rather than a square. It's like a little half circle. Get a tiny, tiny little one right there. And then another teensy tiny one at the end here. Obviously you can make squares, you can make triangles, you make any shape you want. I'm just making triangles because it's probably the simplest. And then, what do you call it, you can see here, this is kind of like where our edge is going to be. So you can decide what you want to do with the edge. I'm going to do like a sort of wavy line. There we go. I'm just going to fix that little edgy piece there. And then we've got more folds here, so we can do obviously a few more bits and bobs along the edge of here. So I'm just going to do maybe a few. I'm not going to kind of do as many as I did on that side. Kind of have them more spaced apart kind of thing. And there we go. Just grab all of this paper and scoop it away. And then we open it up. And we have our very own doily. Obviously, if I wanted to, I could have taken that edge and made it into a circle. But we've got a square doily now. So we can take that and we can go and do the same thing. I can take this and do the little shapes. And then we've got that. And obviously every one that you do is going to be different, because obviously you're not going to cut it exactly the same way every time. And obviously you can, instead of going straight, you could like fold it that way, and then that way, and then that way, and then you could just keep going. You could fold it again and keep adding to it. But it's entirely up to you. You can add this little crimped edge. To the edge of the page. So now I have like that wavy line. But obviously if you've got stencils in the house, that's obviously a better idea than using these. But it's just like things that you can do. Obviously. So I'm just going to cut this piece here. And I'm going to glue it down the bottom there. But yeah, stencils aren't exactly expensive, and if you were only going to invest in a few craft supplies, I would definitely have 1 or 2 stencils that you really like in that mixture. Stencils and stamps are one of the best, or 2 of the best supplies that you can buy, purely because you can reuse them. You can use them to do multiple projects, and you're not going to obviously run out, if that makes sense. So obviously if you buy a packet of something, eventually you're going to run out of whatever's in that packet. But with stencils and stamps, they're never ending essentially, and you can make so many different designs and things like that with them, depending on the colour and the way you use them. They're very, very good craft supplies to invest in, and they're not expensive either. So considering obviously that you get them forever, especially stencils. Stencils are very cheap. Some stamps can be cheaper than others, obviously, but like I said, when you're paying for them to last forever, it makes sense that they're a bit more pricey. But acrylic stamps, for instance, you can get really good acrylic stamps for very cheap, especially on places like AliExpress and Temu and things like that. Wish, I think, as well. You can get like pretty decent acrylic stamps, and they're obviously a lot easier to store than like so many wooden stamps. I've got literally like so many wooden stamps, and they're just annoying to store. Whereas I've got, don't get me wrong, obviously the acrylic stamps do build up as well if you keep buying them, but they take up less room. I keep mine in a display folder, so like the one, like a folder with like the see-through poly pockets in it. I put a piece of card, and then I like use double-sided sticky tape on the back of the stamp sheet, and I stick it down so that I can still obviously remove the stamp itself, but the sheet, the backing sheet, stays inside the folder, and that means I know where to put it back as well when I'm done. My thumbs stuck to it. I think I might have had glue on my thumb. Just a hunch. But yeah, so I highly recommend it if you've not, like if you're just starting out or you're wondering what should you buy and what's worth buying, what's like worth making yourself. Stamps and stencils, I would definitely recommend to invest in. So I'm going to do this little half circle thing again. There we go. I'm going to add this to my tracing paper. And I don't like to add too many decorations to the actual page. I don't mind putting obviously stencils and the odd little decorative stamp, but I do like to keep the pages blank for the most part so that they can get decorated when you're using them, so that obviously everyone's cohesive. You might want to decorate it, like say for the zoo, so you want maybe something a bit more colourful on that, or maybe it's a birthday page, or you know. So I like to kind of keep the decorations to a minimal, and that way I'm not kind of limiting myself later on down the line. so that it's not going to make it difficult for me to kind of work around certain decorations. I hope I'm making sense. I'm going to go and do this to the other two signatures. I'm not going to force you to watch me do the whole thing, and then I will be back once I'm done. Okay, so I've now got all of the pages that I wanted to like decorate with this done. But what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to take this ink just to some of the pages and like add a little bit of distress ink sort of thing. Not all the pages, but just some of them. So I'm going to grab the signatures again. I'm going to add some here. So as you can see, this is working really well for distress inking. So I'm just adding a little bit of character. It's not to be perfect or anything. I'm not even going to do like the full page essentially. And obviously I could go over the entire page as well if I wanted to. I could take another white sheet, and then that's what this page is. It's just distressing. So that's the front. So since I'm now at like an hour long, I'm going to have to call it, and we will bind the pages in our next video. I'm really sorry that I didn't realise it was going to take me so long just to stencil it. But yeah, definitely check out the description box so that you can see Lorree's part 3. I think she's actually got all her videos up, so you can watch like part 1 right through to see her entire process. She's a lot faster than me, clearly. So yeah, don't forget to pop back in for part 5, where we will definitely be binding these pages into the book. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you are well, and I will hopefully see you again soon. Take care and God bless. Bye.